going to share his journey, and Kaustubh is AIR 10 A-late in 2019, and in CLAT he has got AIR 57. So welcome Kaustubh, welcome to BYJU'S Exam Prep. How are you, beta?
I'm doing fine, sir. I hope everyone is well. My name is Kaustubh. I am a third-year student at National School of Indian University, Bangalore.
Okay, that's great. So जल्दी से please join कर लीजिए. आज के सेशन में बहुत मजा आने वाला है, and Kaustubh is going to answer all your queries related to your dream college, that is NLS Bangalore. सभी लोगों का dream college होता है if you are preparing for law examination. So CLAT का top most college, that is NLSIU Bangalore. और वहां से आज कौस्तुभ आपको डायरेक्टली बताएंगे कि व्हाट इज लाइफ एट NLSIU, कितना मुश्किल है, कितना इजी है लाइफ, एंड हाउ टू गेट इनटू NLSIU. सो जल्दी से ज्वाइन कर लो. हाय काजल, हेलो रोहित. सो प्लीज डू शेयर दिस सेशन विद ईच वन ऑफ योर फ्रेंड, एंड प्लीज डू लाइक द सेशन आल्सो. सो कौस्तुभ शुरू करते हैं फटाफट से सेशन विद योर brief introduction, your about yourself. When did you realize that yes you want to be a lawyer and you want to do CLAT के लिए preparation करनी है? क्या था, what triggered you, कहाँ से शुरुआत हुई जर्नी की? So let's start from there.
Yeah. So I did not have a clarity before I chose. Before 11th, I did not have clarity that I wanted to do law. So I chose commerce as my subject, but I didn't want to do the CA because it's very comprehensive and tough, and it's a 5-year long journey. And if you fail in any stage, then you cannot become a successful CA. So at the mid of my 11th, I realized that, and some of my teachers advised me to do law because it's an upcoming field, and the colleges were growing at that moment. So I thought of doing law, and at the end of my 11th, I joined a coaching to prepare for CLAT, and prepared along with 12th, and appeared for the first time in CLAT 2018. At that moment, I did not get into NLS Bangalore. I got an EIR of around 590, and I was getting GNLU Gandhinagar. But the realization was that I did not do enough hard work along with my 12th. My focus was more on 12th and not less on CLAT. So I realized that if I can do up to my full potential, I can get more. So I dropped a year. And I put a year-long hard work and finally got into NLSIU Bangalore 2019.
Okay, so basically Kaustubh have prepared along with 12th also, and he has got admission in GNLU, right?
Yeah.
So okay, so but Kaustubh was very clear that he want to be in top most colleges, so that's why he dropped a year. और he was एक साल प्रिपरेशन करने के बाद में ये थोड़ा सा रियलाइजेशन हो जाता है अगर हम एक बार पेपर को दे देते हैं कि यस हम कहाँ स्टैंड कर रहे हैं, कैसे है. नहीं कौस्तुभ, एक बार थोड़ा सिलेबस से हम हो जाता है कि हाँ कैसा पेपर आने वाला है, तो थोड़ा इजी हो जाता है हमारे लिए डिसाइड करना.
So when you give a paper the first time, you're clueless about how you're going to appear and how you're going to go about in the paper. But when you have appeared for the first time, now you know that what type of questions are coming and how are you going to divide your time in the exam. So if I'm going to appear to the first time, I might devote more time to legal than I should be. So I might be losing the battle on time. But if you have the given paper the first time, you get to handle the pressure in the exam, you get some confidence, and even if you have scored less in the exam, you get to know that what mistakes you have done in the past, so that you can improve in the next year, and you can score better accordingly.
तो एक थोड़ा सा आइडिया मिल जाता है, एक थोड़ा सा वो तो है ही है that yes you know what mistakes you have done and all. So कौस्तुभ, आप जैसा सभी लोग देख ही रहे हो, काफी सारे लोग ज्वाइन कर रहे हैं, जल्दी से और ज्वाइन कर लीजिए और अपने जो भी क्वेश्चंस है डायरेक्टली कमेंट सेक्शन में बताइए. आई विल डेफिनेटली आस्क ऑल योर क्वेरीज, ऑल योर क्वेश्चंस रिलेटेड टू योर प्रिपरेशन, रिलेटेड टू ईच एंड एवरीथिंग विद कौस्तुभ. कौस्तुभ आपको सारे आंसर्स करेगा कि कैसे प्रिपरेशन करी, जो भी व्हाटएवर डाउट यू हैव, please do post it in the comment section. So Kaustubh, one doubt I have, how's life before corona and after corona in college? मतलब काफी चीजें चेंज हुई होगी. जैसे अभी आप देखते होंगे आपके सीनियर्स होंगे बहुत सारे जो आई थिंक आप तो कॉलेज नहीं गए होंगे या अभी तक गए हैं एक आध बार.
So I have been to college for 2 trimesters, that is 6 months in 2019, and I interacted with like all of my seniors from I was in first year, so from second year to fifth year I interacted, and then corona came. So because I had spent 6 months at NLSIU, so it was not difficult to me with connecting with seniors because I had already met them before. And after Corona, our college opened now recently, November 2018, November 2021. So I think it's fine for us because we have been to college 6 months. We have realized how you're going to handle the subjects, how you're going to study how you're going to make the projects and all. And also in your initial year, senior and your peers help you. So after like my experience for like 6 months in NLSIU was a good experience, and it helped me coping in the time where the corona was there and college was closed. But for the upcoming batches, I think it's been a difficult time because starting the college at home, it's a different experience. You have to study differently. Everything is different. So connecting with seniors is an important thing, and I think that's a difference before Corona and during Corona times.
Okay, so that's something different. So hopefully अब तो कोरोना नहीं आए दोबारा. We just hope, we can just hope that let's fourth wave नहीं आए और we all can enjoy, you all can enjoy college life. और थोड़ा सा कॉलेज में रहते हैं तो अलग ही एक फील आता है घर पे रह ऑनलाइन क्लासेस समथिंग डिफरेंट. वो फिजिकल टच इज also very important. Okay, Kaustubh, one doubt which students have is कि if they start preparing from today, let's say we are in the month of February right now, तो अगर हम आज से शुरू करते हैं, so is it possible to make it जैसे 8th of May को अभी तक एग्जाम है, it might get postponed क्योंकि boards 26th of April होने वाले हैं, तो हो सकता है थोड़ा पोस्टपोन हो जाए, मे बी जून में चला जाए एग्जाम. मगर अगर हम आज से शुरू करें तो is it possible to clear the examination in 3 months or 4 months down the line?
I think it's depends on the hard work you put and the perseverance you have towards the exam. So before appearing to the exam, because you have 3 months left, you have to analyze what type of exam and how many questions each part has. Accordingly, you have to devote time. So if I go to CLAT 21, for suppose, so there are a lot of reading comprehension questions, like around 30 reading comprehension questions. The same was in logical reasoning. There was a whole critical reasoning, around 30 questions of reading. So if I was there at this position, so I was going to devote most of the time reading because the passages are small, but the questions are analytical. Now you have to understand the passage, and you can only understand the passage when you have a habit of reading and appearing those questions. So I would advise the students, because the paper is whole English based, I would advise to do a lot of RCs, because it's not only helpful in English section, it's helpful in logical reasoning section. Now coming to now specifically coming to the English, there are a lot of questions. If you see vocab questions, now even if you have the less time to not read the RC properly, now suppose there are 5 questions in 30. Now if you have done good vocabulary, if you have good vocabulary, now you can easily fetch 5 marks without even reading the question whole. So I think these small things. Also coming to GK part. Now GK is, in my time it was static GK played a huge part, but now the whole focus is on current GK, the current happenings. Even the CLAT 21, hardly there was 1 or 2 questions regarding static GK. A whole question was regarding current. Now you can catch up with current GK. Although you have not read the newspapers from the past year, read the newspapers from like 3 months. I'm sure in this 3 months, around 10 12 questions will be there. Now regarding covering up the past papers, you can get a lot of compendiums, and I will suggest you an Insight IAS thing. They prepare a monthly compendium for UPS. Now what the CLAT has started following the pattern is that they ask a direct question from the current news, and the next 4 questions are the history of that. When it was established, when the first prize was given, who was given. So that history is, I think, there in Insight. I also prepared for my CLAT GK from there on. So even if you have missed on from the past GK, you can cover up. Now coming to legal questions. Now legal, I don't think it has changed in the CLAT pattern. So earlier there was principle-based questions. Each question has a different principle. Now there are 1 paragraph, 1 legal concept, and there are 5 questions. So it's more about reading. It's not any about technical knowledge. But I would advise you to do past year questions, your coaching mocks, handouts, everything, because you get to familiarize the concept. Now there's a question about contract act. So now if you have read the principle, you can easily grasp it during the exam and move forward the questions and easily understand the question, what is asking and what are the options. Now, if you are reading for the like concept for the very first time, you will take time, and the time is the game in the CLAT. So practicing questions even and reading principles carefully is a key to legal. If you have 3 months, you do 15, 20 questions or 1 hour daily for legal reasoning, you can easily crack it. Now coming to logical, as I said, logical is basically a substitute of English because all the questions are based on critical reasoning, arguments, strong weak arguments, conclusions, inferences. Now, if you have, now for this, firstly, it's English is important. When you are practicing RC, your logical reasoning, your critical reasoning automatically get better because only these are the play of word play. These questions are word plays, so you can easily understand that. Secondly, practice a lot of one-liners and paragraph-based critical reasoning questions. Then you can find out easily on the internet as well as coaching handouts and mocks in different coaching papers or all India mocks as well. So practice that because 3 months is a less time. You cannot. So I went because I know that CLAT, there are a lot of critical reasoning questions. I went to the CAT papers and CAT books, but because 3 months is not the sufficient time to do that, don't do that. Just do the basics thing. Understand how it's going to answer the question, how I'm going to understand the question. Now coming to the maths. Now I think even those who are preparing now, started preparing now, maths is the section which changes the game. Now there are 15 questions in CLAT 2021. There were data interpretation questions. Now even if don't have past experience in maths, you just have to read the question, write down what's the information given in the question, then accordingly solve the problem. It's as simple as addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. No, nothing you have done. You don't have to calculate profit and loss, percentage, nothing you have to calculate. It's just basic maths. So these 15 marks are really important. These 15 marks change the game because people think that maths is difficult. These are big questions. No, it's not. You got jot down all the information on the paper and solve it. I think this strategy will help a student who is starting now, and devoting time to each section is a key to success. Appropriate time.
थैंक यू सो मच कौस्तुभ फॉर आंसरिंग इन डिटेल कि क्या करना चाहिए, क्या स्ट्रैटेजी होनी चाहिए. आई थिंक इफ यू फॉलो दिस, सब कुछ ही कौस्तुभ ने बता दिया कि कैसे हर एक सेक्शन वाइज कौस्तुभ आई हैव टोल्ड यू कि कैसे कौन से सेक्शन को किस तरीके से लेके जाना है, हाउ टू प्रिपेयर द सेक्शंस ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. एंड द पॉइंट व्हिच कौस्तुभ हैव आल्सो मेंशन्ड, quant is going to be a game changer for you because with 15 marks you think like that it is a less weightage, you do not like maths at all, just leave it, but that 15 marks is going to play a big role in your success. Why? Because your accuracy in this is going to be 100%. आता है या नहीं आता है, क्या कहते हो कौस्तुभ, right?
Yeah, so maths is either 0 or 100%. You can if you are attempting all the questions, if you have read properly, you can easily score 14, 15, 14, 13 marks. But in English, you can't be sure about it because all the questions are inferential based, and there are mostly close options in English paper and logical reasoning, and you might get confused between two options and you might mark the wrong option. There's a higher probability of that and then doing marking wrong answers in mathematics and data interpretation. So I advise to like focus equally on every subject, but don't lose focus from maths. It's a really game changer, and I think these 15 marks will fetch you a good rank and even help you clear the cutoff.
Okay, that's thank you so much for answering it. And let's take some questions from the students. Yes, Abhinav, you can ask a question. जो भी आपका question है, please पूछिए. Let's start from Kajal. Kajal have asked a question. Kaustubh, sir, I am preparing for CLAT 2023. So what should I do firstly, and which subject should I start with? That's a question from Kajal.
So I suppose CLAT 23 is in December, I guess.
December, yes. CLAT 2023 is in December, right?
Okay, so you have plenty of, you have like 10 months. So now 10 months is like going from a new path. So I would advise again, read newspapers. Now from this date, you have to read newspapers daily. It helps you in GK. Now GK 30 marks, all from newspaper and some sources which are say, insights and all. You can cover up GK from there, and regularly reading newspapers would give you all the information that is going to be asked in the exam. Second, regarding legal, you can do what I suggested, that read questions, do past your papers, do a lot of mocks because you have a lot of time. Now for English, I would suggest you do 3-4 months normal RCs from the coaching material, from everything you get, and read a lot of read a lot of editorials so that you can get a hang of it, how to go about the RCs and inferential questions. Now, if you have done cracked this, now go to the CAT questions, because you have a lot of time. You can do that, and going to the CAT question would certainly help because the questions are not difficult. So that would increase your reading speed and correct. If you have done correct answer in that question, that would give you confidence about attempting English RCs in the exam. Now, accordingly, legal, logical reasoning, there's no straight jacket formula. You're practicing more, you can find questions, umpteen number of questions on the internet. Basically, focus less on logical reasoning because CLAT doesn't ask logical reasoning now. They only ask critical reasoning. So devote 80% of your preparation on critical reasoning, but prepare for the worst as well. So do logical reasoning as well. Now maths, you don't have to do anything. Just do 15-20 data interpretation questions. That will help you cover a lot of concepts, and that will help you a lot of concepts. And yeah, that's it, and cover it in the boxes because maths doesn't require much preparation. If you are weak at it now, if you are weak at maths, so now that you have to devote more time. So instead of 1 hour, you have to devote 2 hours to maths if you are weak at calculations. Now, if you are now, so I said that in the starting that CLAT every year has 5 vocab questions. Now, if you have 10 months, so prepare vocab to the best. If you don't get time to attempt RC questions, you can get 5 marks by attempting only vocab questions. So I suggest preparing vocab from, I think, newspapers. There are a lot of good words in the newspaper. You can search there and get the meaning and make a list, make a note every day. Secondly, you can also, I suggest there's also 3,500 word list, GMAT word list. I'm only suggesting who have for longer time for preparation, not for CLAT 22 students because there's less time. Now, this is a 3,500 word list. It has every word that is going to come in the exam. I think if you have cracked this, if you have learned this, if you have practiced this word list, you cannot find difficulty in attempting vocab questions. Now, focusing on small things as well will help you in cracking this exam. So there are a lot of tone questions, literary devices questions. So they are only from like, even though they are a minute part of it, they still fetch you marks, 1-2 marks in every question, in every like suppose in 30 questions of RC, if we combine tone, literary device question, they will be around 2-3 questions. So, and these topics are not difficult. These are really simple topics. You can easily practice that. So I think focus on these also. Apart from this, I would also suggest you to analyze the paper from your end as well. Like what types of questions is paper asking? What type of questions are you comfortable attempting in? What type of questions are you taking more time? So that will help you strategize for the 10 months you have, like how much time I'm taking legal, I'm taking more, I'm taking less. So that will help you practice better.
Okay, so thank you so much for answering, Kaustubh. And okay, so let's have one more question. Let's try to answer it briefly. That is a question from Prateek. Can you discuss a little more about distribution of this time distribution for sections? Basically, how much time should we devote to each section in CLAT examination or in our preparation also? जैसे अगर मैं दिन में let's say I'm studying for 8 hours, so how to distribute that time between the sections? और या फिर वो individually different होता है, हर बच्चे के लिए अलग होगा, या we can have a proper strategy for each and every student? What's your opinion about this?
I think depends on the student who is strong in which section. So if I were in your place, so I would attempt maths first and attempt all the questions if that I am getting the first hand. So I think you have this time you have CLAT in 120 minutes, right?
Yes.
You have 90 or 120 minutes in CLAT in the new pattern.
Hello. हाँ बोलो बोलो, आवाज आ रही है कौस्तुभ? Yes, क्या बोल रहे हो?
Yeah, so the new pattern has 120 minutes in the exam, right?
New pattern has 150 questions.
120 minutes in terms of the time.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so you can accordingly give 25 minutes around to English and 20 around GK. You know, either know or don't know the answer. The 12 to 30 minutes in GK, and legal you will take time because the questions are big. So around take 30 minutes or 35 minutes in legal because there are 30 questions. Logical, you will take time because the questions are big, around 30 minutes. And maths, you get like 10, 15 minutes. I think that's a basic strategy that should be for every student. Now, depending on different expert, like different strengths do have, you can either adjust 2-3 minutes in one of your sections, but try to attempt at least every section because every section must have easy questions as well. And if you don't attempt the entire section, you might miss on easy questions. Now, second, focusing on the how much time you devote should be in the studies, in studying. Now, I think even so, English is the main game in this paper. GK, you can easily do it in 1 or 2 hours, reading 2-3 sources every day, making notes. English, you have to do, I think, for 3-4 hours, reading newspapers, reading RCs. I'm also combining logical reasoning with English because all the questions are inference based in logical arguments, assumptions, and all. And maths, I said, 1.5 hour, or even whoever's strength in maths, half an hour is sufficient.
Okay. Thank you so much for answering in brief about all the sections. One more question is coming in from Abhinav, that is, I cover up my all syllabus, but I can't solve all the answers in mocks. That's a question from Abhinav. Syllabus तो सारा हो चुका है, लेकिन सारे answers नहीं हो पा रहे हैं mocks के अंदर में. So क्या करना चाहिए?
So the problem is that you can't attempt all the questions in the mock. You are not able to attempt all the questions, right?
No, what he's trying to say is, what I can judge from his comment is, I cover up my all syllabus, but I can't solve all the answers in the mocks. So maybe शायद हो नहीं पाते हैं questions, solve नहीं हो पा रहे, मतलब he is not able to attempt the question. It's not time management. I think that is because of he do not know the concept or something like that.
I think that's basically that your fundamentals might be a bit shaky. You have to work on your fundamentals because the same environment you must be getting the CLAT. So if you're not able to solve in the mocks, you have added into 10 pressure in the CLAT exam. So I think you have to work on your fundamentals. Even if you think that you've covered the syllabus, just revise it second time. Do mocks at home. What I was trying to do in the mock and where I was finding difficulty, I think you can get rid of this problem. I think you have to revise the concept again.
Okay, that means basics में कहीं ना कहीं गलती है अभिनव बेटा. Go back to the basics. अगर आपका ये problem है, it's not about the time management. अगर time management वाली बात है तो Kaustubh have already answered it in detail. लेकिन अगर it's not about the time management, it's about you are not getting the answers. आपको नहीं आ रहे तो go back to the basics once again and try to brush up your basics, revise them once again, and be good with the basics. Because what I think and Kaustubh think is, in any competitive exam, I think the question comes from the basic. If it is going to be a hard, difficult question, also it is from the basics. So please brush up your basics. Okay, we have one more question from Abhishek sir. I scored in my first mock. I am disappointing. Maybe he want to say I scored less in first mock, so I am disappointed. So mock के time पे यार Kaustubh आपके साथ भी ऐसा होता होगा, कभी marks कम हो जाते होंगे, कभी marks ज़्यादा हो जाते होंगे. So whether we should target marks or we should target ranks या percentile target करना चाहिए, और अगर कम स्कोर आ रहा है तो disappointed हो जाते हैं. कई बार हम लोगों को लगता है यार ये क्या हो रहा है, और फिर हम mocks देने से डरने लग जाते हैं. So this is something which happens with the students. So what should be the strategy for mocks?
Yeah. So I think the marks is not even a judgment because CLAT is a comparative paper. Who gets more gets the first rank. So I think marks, you have to calculate where are you standing in the basis of ranks. And I think apart from being disappointed, analyze what mistakes you have done. You could have done better. Same position, you go at home and analyze all the answers. What were you thinking at the exam point of time? What are you thinking now? Now the analyzing mocks is a really key to increase your marks in the next mocks. So I suppose I give you example. In my time in ll.b, there was a 150 questions and the paper was really long, and I think the college closes 67 marks. Now out of like less than 50%, if you are getting, you're also getting into NLU Delhi. So marks is not the factor. If the paper is hard, everyone is going to get less marks. But the strategy should be, you should attempt all the easy questions, all the good questions, and leave the difficult questions for the end. Now, for such that you can also score good marks in mocks, because the questions, you know that, because sometimes what happens is that you analyze the mocks and say, so I was not able to attempt the easy question, I know that. So getting the hang of it at the starting, attempting all the questions you know, and then attempting the difficult questions and analyzing the mocks. Each mock you give, analyze it for 1 hour. I think it will help scoring more marks in mocks.
Okay, so analyze करना बहुत अच्छे से बहुत important है. Analyzing the mocks, identifying your weaknesses and working out on those weaknesses will definitely help you improve the score. That is for Abhinav and Pratik also. So मैं यही बोलूँगा. Kaustubh also says the same thing. Please analyze it properly. Analyze it. जब आप analyze कर रहे हो mocks को, तो try to identify your weakness. वो जो topics आपने पढ़ रखे हैं और अभी भी उसके questions नहीं हो रहे हैं, तो इसका मतलब गो बैक टू द बेसिक्स वंस अगेन और फिर से उसको करके आओ, थोड़े और क्वेश्चंस प्रैक्टिस करो. यू हैव टू बी कॉन्फिडेंट इन ईच एंड एवरी चैप्टर. दैट शुड बी योर आइडियल स्ट्रेटजी. Okay, Pratik is asking a question. I have good reading speed but can't comprehend what I read. Okay, if I try to understand my speed slows down, how do I improve? अगर मैं बहुत तेज पढ़ता हूं तो मैं comprehend नहीं कर पाता हूं ढंग से, और अगर comprehend करने में लग जाता हूं तो बहुत ज्यादा टाइम लग जाता है. It hampers the speed. What should I do?
So the problem is not that you have good reading speed. The problem is that you are not reading properly. And the exam, reading fast will not help you. Reading comprehensive will help you. So I think if you are reading fast, that's not a good thing to have. If you are reading fast and understanding things at the same time, now it's a good thing to have. So I will suggest read more. Start from reading slowly and understanding the first reading. So because if you are going to devote second time, or if you are going to devote second reading to understand the paragraph, it's going to cost you a lot of time. So start with easy reading, understand the paragraph, what's trying to say, answer the questions, and gradually, if you will practice, your speed will automatically increase.
Okay, so basically आपको अच्छे से रीड करना है. डेटा इंटरप्रेट करने में टाइम लगाओ. मैं हमेशा बोलता हूँ, एक बार अगर आपने ढंग से कॉम्प्रीहेंड कर लिया, फिर क्वेश्चन सॉल्विंग में टाइम नहीं लगता. लेकिन अगर आप ढंग से कॉम्प्रीहेंड नहीं किया, आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्व भी कर दोगे तो गलत ही हो जाएंगे आधे से ज्यादा. सो थोड़ा सा टाइम हमें लगाना पड़ेगा. कॉम्प्रीहेंड अच्छे से करना है. दैट्स वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट. ओके, वन मोर क्वेश्चन फ्रॉम अनुष्का इज कमिंग. आई स्कोर्ड 88 इन माय फर्स्ट मॉक एंड लॉस्ट most of the marks in math section. That's my section. So Anushka is asking कि भाई मैथ्स में स्कोर नहीं आ रहा है और ज्यादातर मार्क्स मैथ्स में जा रहे हैं. 88 is a good score in first mocks, Anushka, although, but ठीक है. That's a question to Kaustubh.
I think again I will point out that analyzing is the key to this. So you have to analyze whether you did a mistake in calculation error, whether you misread the question, or whether you jot down the data wrong. I think there must be three aspects to it. Now, even if you say that if you are finding difficult to interpret the data, you have to read the question thoroughly. Second, if you are making a calculation mistake, I think it can happen. You can revisit the question and improve the next mock. And third thing, if you are reading the question wrong, then again it's a comprehending problem, because I don't think in data interpretation there is a concept that is unknown to anyone. It's basically addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, and mostly calculation of percentage. So I think these are the three key problems you have to see. I think mostly your wrong answer must be you must be comprehending wrong the questions.
Exactly, I also completely agree with Kaustubh कि comprehension में time लगाओ. And as far as my section और quant section is concerned, डेटा एक बार अगर आपने इंटरप्रेट कर लिया, इट्स डेटा इंटरप्रेटेशन नॉट डेटा कैलकुलेशन. आप क्या करते हो, बस पहली लाइन से जो आया वो कैलकुलेट करने लग जाओ. इट्स नॉट अबाउट कैलकुलेशन. इफ यू कॉम्प्रिहेंड द डेटा वेल, कैलकुलेशंस होंगी नहीं. और अगर बहुत ज्यादा कैलकुलेशन आ रही है, मतलब डेटा गलत पढ़ा है आपने, या फिर कुछ ना कुछ आप गड़बड़ कर रहे हो. Right. One more question from Abhinav we have. Sir, how can improve the attempting questions, because I can't even attempt 60 out of 150 in mocks.
Yeah, suppose so every mock has different type of questions, so easy questions and medium difficulty questions and hard questions. So I would suggest you that when the mock comes in the front of you, just glance through it. What are the questions, what the type of question is this? Attempt all the easy questions first. Now if you attempt all the easy questions, then go to the medium difficulty question and go to the hard question. Now if doing that, you can do all the questions that you know. Now even if you're so first thing that, and second thing, you have to see how much time you are taking. So if you are like suppose taking 50 questions in solving 30 questions of legal reasoning, now that's an issue. You have to get rid of this issue by reading more and more legal questions, by doing practice, by doing past year papers, the legal questions, and set a time limit. I won't devote more than 30 minutes in legal, suppose. So that will help you cover each section and also increase your attempt. So I think uh, first is solve easy questions first, all the easy question first. And if you are doing good solving easy question first, then also finding difficulty, then devote specific time to each section. That I'm not going to devote more than 30 minutes or say 25 minutes to this section and move on to the other section.
Okay, so attempting easy questions first, or I would add one more thing to it is कि जब आप पढ़ाई कर रहे हो, when you are studying, at that time also you can study time bound, और वहां पर भी आप ऐसे ही कर सकते हो जैसे कि let's say percentage topic पढ़ा है और उसके क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करो 30 क्वेश्चन, so you can set a time maybe 30 minutes 40 minutes down the line, और वहां पर भी ऐसे ही करो कि पहले easy question attempt करो फिर medium, so you would be in a habit of leaving the question, leaving the difficult question in the first round and attempting the easier ones in the first round, तो वो थोड़ा सा एक habit बन जाएगी, and this is very very important.
Also, I would to add that attempting more questions doesn't matter, accuracy matters. So if you are attempting 100 questions out of 150 and your accuracy is like 90%, you can score around 85 marks. Now I think that's more than sufficient to clear the cutoff.
Exactly.
So I think focusing on accuracy is more than focusing on attempts.
So बहुत ज्यादा अटेम्प्ट के चक्कर में सारे गलत ही हो गए तो कोई फायदा नहीं है. बिल्कुल exactly, I completely agree with Kaustubh on this. Okay, now some personal questions to you. Kajal is asking a question. भैया आपने कितने मार्क्स स्कोर किए थे क्लैट में?
So my time of CLAT was really easy. CLAT was really easy. So I scored 165.5 marks out of 200.
Okay, that's great. 165.5 out of 200 was the score of Kaustubh. Okay, one more question. How are the gym facilities in NLSIU? आपके कॉलेज से रिलेटेड कुछ क्वेश्चंस लेते हैं. तो कैसा है जिम फैसिलिटीज कैसी हैं? So
I think colleges has a proper gymnasium, and now the college is procuring new equipment as well for the gym. I think if you are gym freak or if you want to do gym, you can easily. The college has proper facilities.
So प्रतीक जिम विम सब कुछ है, टेंशन नहीं लेनी है, बस सिलेक्शन करवाना है. Each and everything would be done. KD is asking a question. Sir, campus is on online mode ना? अभी तो online mode में है. IPS मार्च में ओपन हो रहे हैं.
Yeah, so the campus is starting from 7th. So now we have a trimester system. So the campus is starting from 7th of March. Now it will be offline, no online.
Okay, so from 7th of March it is going to be offline. Okay. Sir, negative marking भी होती है क्लैट में? बिल्कुल होती है काजल. Pratik is also asking a question. How are you coping with trimester system as there's a lot of competition? That's a question from Pratik. That is once again a personal question.
I think in your first year, so I agree that the trimester system is new to everyone when going to the college. So I think there are 4 subjects in one trimester. That's from my perspective. It's if you are studying regularly, if you're doing everything on time, it's the time is sufficient to do all the activity. Now in initial time, you get difficulty in making them. You have to make a project as well. So making projects and doing studies, that pattern might be different. You might face difficulty. So now the seniors and your senior and the college is a lot of peer programs to help students cope up in academics in the first year. And the first year is really difficult. After that, you get accustomed to the college, the trimester system, and now that you have decoded up then how I'm going to study in the trimester, then you easily can easily do it.
Okay.
In the first trimester you might face difficulty, but from the second trimester or the third trimester it will be good for you.
Okay, thank you so much for answering that. काफी सारे क्वेश्चंस हम लोगों ने पूछे. Kaustubh and Kaustubh have answered it so brilliantly and इतना डिटेल में Kaustubh ने सब कुछ बताया. Thanks a lot Kaustubh. One doubt which I am having is, जो मुझसे बच्चे बहुत बार पूछते हैं, सर क्लैट की तैयारी तो कर रहे हैं बट क्लैट और एलेट दो बिल्कुल अलग एग्जाम है. तो Kaustubh can answer this. Kaustubh से अच्छा कोई आंसर नहीं कर सकता because I guess Kaustubh's rank in ALET was 10 and in CLAT Kaustubh has got 57 rank, right? So how you manage ALET and CLAT preparation? क्या हम CLAT की preparation कर सकते हैं तो ALET clear हो सकता है easily? And what is the difference and what is the similarity between both exam preparation?
So yeah, so first of all, what I suggest is that attempt easy questions and attempt less questions, focus on accuracy. So from a personal experience, I only attempted 105 questions and still got 80 marks. I did not attempt 150 questions. So firstly, this before moving on to the subjects in the ALET, This is really important. And now ll.b pattern of ll.b, the ll.b has a really different pattern of its own. And if you notice, if it follows a similar pattern over the years, generally doesn't change from the past 3-4 years. There's one RC questions. These are one RC question. Now, if you have done good RC for your CLAT, you can easily do it here also. The same inferential RC will come for I think 6-7 questions. I think if you have cracked in CLAT, you can also do it here. Secondly, grammar here the CLAT in CLAT grammar is not there, but here the grammar is there. Use of words are there, and the questions I talked about tones and literary devices are much more here in this paper. Out of 35 questions, you might find 5 questions out of tones and literary devices, and also vocabulary. Now, I just looked into the ll.b paper 2021 and found around 8 to 10 questions from vocabulary, and 5 are easy questions, 5 I will put in difficult category. So if you have done good vocab, if you have, like I've suggested, 3,500 word list, then if you have done read newspaper and done vocab from that, you can easily crack it here. So apart from RCs, grammar, phrasal verbs, vocabulary, everything is important in every part of English syllabus is important in ll.b. You cannot miss each one of it. So regarding legal reasoning, I think legal reasoning is similar only. You have a principle-based question and fact situations, but except that the questions are really big in ll.b. So you have to manage time. If you have good reading speed, attempt legal reasoning first. If you don't, attempt all the section first and then go to the legal reasoning. Because if you have a less reading speed and you get to attempt legal reasoning, you can easily use 40 minutes of your time. And in ll.b, there are specific 10 legal GK questions are specifically there. So these legal GK questions are from, I think, current what judicial appointments are happening, what important judgment is coming in the what developments in the legal field, as well as some factual questions. Who was the constitution maker of India? Everything than that. Now coming to the logical reasoning, again the same pattern is there. There are critical reasoning based questions, argument, assumptions, inferences. So what I would suggest that there are paragraph as well as one liners. So if you are practicing out for CLAT, the similar is there. The pattern is the same. If you are the type of question is similar in CLAT as well as ll.b. Now, apart from critical reasoning based questions, there are also there are normal logical reasoning questions like direction, patterns, letters, etc. These are, I think, 7-8 questions, and I think these questions are very basic. And if you practice now, all the coaching mocks has, I think, 3-4 questions of this. You can coaching from coaching material, you can practice from that and from mocks and all India mocks, etc. Now there is also puzzle question. Every year ll.b gives a puzzle question. So what I would suggest is, now in ll.b 2021 there was a puzzle question and there were only three questions from that. So I would not advise to do that question because you will take 5 minutes to solve that puzzle and get only 3 questions. It's wastage of time. If it's a difficult puzzle and the question is not more than 5, don't attempt the question, attempt the last. In maths, I think ll.b is a proper maths, proper 10th, proper concepts of 9th or 10th.
Pattern has changed this year. इस साल इन्होंने थोड़ा सा पैटर्न चेंज कर दिया है. Math section they have removed all. Although according to me, maths would be there in logical reasoning section. Logical reasoning में they are asking now 70 questions. उसी में legal reasoning भी पूछेंगे ऐसा बोला गया है. And I think according to me उसमें maths भी पूछेंगे. Although बहुत डिटेल वाली मैथ्स नहीं पूछेंगे या फिर मॉड के क्वेश्चन आ रहे हैं या फिर अलजेब्रा आ रहा है वैसे नहीं आएगा, बट हाँ बेसिक क्वेश्चंस ऑफ मैथ्स वुड बी देयर. इट्स लाइक कमर्शियल मैथ्स और समथिंग लाइक दैट.
I think all the like previous question papers has percentage, volume, mensuration, profit and loss. I think those questions will be there in the electric paper, not data interpretation that is given the class. So I think for maths you have to devote extra 1 or 2 hours for maths if you have to like study these concepts thoroughly, because again 10 marks in maths, it's a really big difference because legal the questions are really big. If you are scoring 10 marks in maths and leaving out 10 questions of legal, it will be fruitful for you.
Okay, so that's the strategy which Kaustubh have told according to 2019. and इस साल जो पैटर्न चेंज हुआ है उसमें जो हम लोगों को लगता है वो यही लगता है कि कहीं ना कहीं वो क्लैट की लाइंस पे जा रहा है पेपर भी, है ना. तो और भी इजी है आपके लिए. अगर if you are preparing for CLAT you can easily clear ll.b also. That's what I think. Okay, so let's end the session, but with one or two questions. Let's just take one or two questions. Sir, did you drop 1 year? Yes, Prateek. Sir, I am not consistent and disciplined. What to do? That's a question which Kaustubh will be asking. And Bhaiya, do you enjoy in your hostel life or only studying? So दो questions हैं जो answer करते हैं हम लोग.
Yeah, so regarding your discipline, I think you have to focus on the goal, and I think you have to realize that once you crack the exam, you don't have to do that much hard work in your college. If you get into a good college, now your life is, I think, for a lack of better word, set. Now, so if you have to focus on a goal, and automatically discipline comes from there. I think they, I can't suggest how you can be disciplined in your life, but you have to focus on your goal, and that's the really solution for it. Secondly, regarding enjoyment, I do everything. I'm a part of committees. I am part of journals. I am a part of cricket team as well. So apart from study, I do everything. But it depends on you. How can you manage everything?
So Kaustubh enjoys also. ऐसा नहीं है NLS के बच्चे मजे नहीं करते हैं. भाई enjoyment is along with the studies only. Last question from Kajal. नरेश question पूछा, भाई at present तुम NLSIU hostel में हो? नहीं. 7th of March से hostels खुलेंगे. Then Kaustubh will be in the hostel. Fees you can see on the side. And last question let's take from Kajal. That's it. Sir, how much time should I give my preparing? 6 hours enough or should I give more time? So 6 घंटे बहुत है या फिर ज्यादा टाइम देना चाहिए? That is a question.
So if you are dropping a year, I would suggest 6 hours is a less time to. So I would suggest if you're dropping a year, around 10 to 12 hours or 8 to 10 hours you should be devoting every day. If you are doing with the 12, or I think you are doing with 12, so you can devote 4 to 6 hours is sufficient.
Okay. So that's it. Is it necessary to cover previous month's GK? And sir, please ask him how he plans to learn GK, how to get all 5 questions correct from a paragraph in GK section. That's a question. Once again. So GK.
So I think you have to do past 1 year GK, because so I read CLAT 2021 paper and there's a question from June 2020. So now CLAT asked questions from past 1 year. You have to be thorough with that, because even if you don't know one question, your straight away 5 marks will be deducted because you don't know that question. So I think, see, to be on the safe side, cover past 1 year all the questions. And if you didn't cover, I suggest you look for some compendium, look for some coaching materials as well. That will help you cover past GK from the present. Start reading newspapers and make notes.
Okay, last thing is nearly saying, sir, 6 hours थोड़ा ज़्यादा नहीं हो गया? Okay.
I think if you are scoring good in mocks, and if you're confident that I'll do good, I think it depends on everyone. If you're doing good, then 6 hours is sufficient. If you are, I think, scoring less marks in mocks, or like you did not understand concepts and you have difficulty in understanding, so you have to devote more. Depends on person to person.
Okay. Thank you so much Kaustubh for answering the question. बहुत मजा आया आपसे बातें करके. आपने सारे क्वेश्चंस के आंसर दिए बहुत अच्छे से. And we would love to see you once again after the boards also, जहां पर हम डिस्कस कर लेंगे लास्ट 1 मंथ की स्ट्रैटेजी, लास्ट 20 डेज, जितना भी टाइम बोर्ड्स हमें देंगे. And we will once again call you. It was very lovely and thank you so much on the behalf of entire BYJU'S Exam Prep team. Thank you so much Kaustubh for this amazing session and answering all the questions. Thanks a lot.
Thank you BYJU'S for calling me to the session.
Thank you so much, and thank you everyone for being a part of this session. And if you have any query, any doubt, please feel free to ask it in the comment section. Me, Kaustubh, or someone from our team will definitely answer all your queries. Thank you so much. Have a good day ahead. Bye bye. Take care everyone. Thanks a lot everyone.